our next way of discussing things with each other, of dialoguing with one another, is the checking in dialogue. We can probably all relate to when we've had kids or when we have got kids now and we ask them, how was school? Good. End of discussion. Well, what we're doing is we're checking in with them to see how they are. And it's important that we do that with each other. We can either do this in a way that's straightforward, like, hi, honey, how was your day? Just want to see how things are going for you. Or it might be an opening for a deeper conversation, like, you look sad. Are you all right? Or how are you travelling? So it's a way of checking in so that we know that we can be real with our partner and we're allowing them permission to be real with us. It's so important that we can be honest about what's really happening for us in our inner world, because that's what grows our relationship when we can share that with one another. It's kind of like the nurse who does the observation checks. She checks your pulse, she checks those things, your heart rate, so that she can have a clear record of how your physical wellness is. And in the same way, we want to check in with each other because we love one another. We want to check in with how each other feels on that inner wellness scale.
And one helpful dialogue tool for that is called the 10-10 tool. And when we have our sort of knee-to-knee times, each of us takes 10 minutes to reflect on 3 questions. How am I feeling at the moment? How am I feeling about you at the moment? And how do I feel about us? We take 10 minutes just to write down a few ideas there if we wish to, and then we have 10 minutes to share that with each other. And in the videos coming up, you'll see a couple actually using this technique to actually explain what's happening for them in their inner world. A great way of actually opening the door to what's happening on the inside.
Would you like me to share first?
Yeah.
How do I feel about me today? I feel encouraged by my experience at the photo conference that I was able to go to. Because although on the one hand there's a gap between what I'm doing at the moment and what the keynote speakers were able to do, it really encouraged all of us to find our own style and our own approach and be authentic with that. So that was a real encouragement for me. I'm also excited that our house construction is about to start after such a long delay.
Yeah, 3.5 years. Yeah.
So that's exciting. I'm anxious, though, a little bit about that in managing our part of the build in conjunction with the builder and project managing what we need to do after that's finished.
Okay. Can I just reflect back for you? You're letting me know that you've been encouraged by going to the photography conference and particularly about developing your style from that and seeing that that's quite possible. That you're excited about the build taking place now after such a lengthy period of time. But you're also anxious about that whole process, about how that's actually going to unfold.
Our part of that.
And our part in that, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What about for you?
For me, I have a mixture of both frustration and relief, I think, because of my recent operation. Relief that the operation's over, because I was quite scared to kind of undergo another major operation within 12 months and then going through that whole process again. But I'm relieved that the pain has kind of been really good and has disappeared. But I'm also frustrated in being restricted to one arm use, which is not my dominant arm.
Sure.
And that produces frustrations for me, you know, having to be dressed and showered and trying to eat with my left hand, brush my teeth with my left hand, all of those things, yeah.
So I'm hearing that you're really relieved that the surgery is over, because you really didn't want to have another operation, and that the pain has taken up from what it was and is better. And I'm really relieved about that too. But you're frustrated by the restrictions of doing everything with one arm at the moment, and I can understand that. In talking about how I feel about you today, I'm just so proud of you and happy for you in the way you've come through this whole surgery situation, because, as you said, you've had 2 operations in the space of a year, and you didn't want this one, but your determination to do what you needed to do to recover is just, I'm just overwhelmed by how determined you are with that.
Thank you, darling.
And happy for you that you're out of the pain. I'm a little frustrated at times, because I'm trying to strike a balance with helping you and doing things for you, but also letting you do the things that you feel you can do. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing something to help, and you feel it's crossing that boundary of something you want to do. So that frustrates me sometimes.
Okay, can you hold there for a minute?
Yep.
You admire my resilience and my recovery, and you're very proud about the way that I've responded to the whole process of doing that. But also at the same time, you're feeling frustrated into how much to help, and what signals I'm giving about whether I want to do it for myself or have a go at doing for myself. So, that's a mixture of frustration as well as, wanting to keep me well, basically, Okay, how do I feel about you? I'm grateful for the time that you had at Aperture. To me, it was, and for the other photography things you've been doing of late, because that's actually doing stuff for yourself, and you enjoy that's part of the passion that you have in photography, and that's really great. And I'm really pleased that you enjoyed those 2 days. I was in hospital, and that kind of encouraged me that you were actually doing something rather than just sitting beside me. I was fine, and you know, you were enjoying that process. I'm also thankful for the time we've just had away, which was at a friend's place, and just having that relaxation away from the hurdy-gurdy was really, really good. So, that's how I feel about, for you particularly, to be away from that pressure,
So I hear you saying that you're happy that I had that time at the photography conference, and that it helped to feed my passion for photography. And also that in having a time away together, that kept me away from some of the constant to-do lists of different responsibilities.
Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that. How do I feel about us? I feel good about the teamwork that we've been able to show in dealing with a number of challenges over the last 12 months, mainly medical. And while there is some frustration sometimes, I feel really good about the fact that we could work that through. I am a bit unhappy that for both of us that the medical restrictions have impacted on our times of intimacy, and that's just a journey that we need to work through. So I'm unhappy that that's happening, but I'm glad that we have an intention to want to work that through together.
Yeah. You're proud of the way that we can work as a team to face challenges, what the stresses are or the business. We work through it, and being able to talk to each other about it is a really important part of our relationship, and that's something you value. But the second thing, just remind me, sorry.
I'm happy about the impact of our medical restrictions on our times of intimacy.
That has an impact on our physical ability and our being able to be close together. In those things, it impacts our intimacy. Along with you, feel that. I also feel good about the way that we've been able to face the challenges of living in a van while we're waiting for our house to build, and that's had had its challenges, but once again, we've worked through each of the things, even if we're travelling or whether we've been in one place or working around different conditions, etc. We've been able to work through those things together because we've, rather than just be silent about it, we've actually talked about it, and that's been good. So working those things out as a team is really important.
Yeah. So you've been happy about how our teamwork has helped us to deal with being in the restrictions of a van, which turned out to be for 3 years instead of 1 or 2.
1 year. Yeah.
Well, just as we wind up, I'd just like to share a couple of things about how useful we've found this checking in process for us. For me personally, I'm grateful that answering these kind of questions in a simple way, a couple of times a week, helps me to increase my own awareness of my own feelings, and that then makes me more confident to actually disclose those feelings to you, because I'm having to think about those questions and reflect for myself.
Yeah. I think I was saying to you that for me it was a very uncomfortable process to begin with because the questions seemed to be strange. But as with you, it enables me to take a current temperature of actually what's going on and how close or how distant we are from each other and our relationship. So the second aspect for me is that I'm grateful it's like a circuit breaker to actually stop the busyness and have time to reflect and have time to be us.
Yeah. And I'd just like to say that to finish, I feel close to you when we can share in this way. And therefore I feel good about our own relationship because of it. So I like that emotional closeness that it gives us.
Yeah.
So
a greater awareness.
Thank you.
Thank you, Num.
Hi, Sam. We've had a lot happening lately. I really want to check with you how you're feeling. Actually, in another word, I'm trying to find you in the middle of all this. Where are you?
One of my answers would be, I don't know where I am. But I felt overwhelmed. I felt sad. And I still feel raw somehow. But funny enough, in the midst of all of that, I feel soothed. Your support, you are with me. We're sharing it together. We're moving together, and we can sense each other's pain, and I think that's comforting in many ways. So, in a way, I feel in peace despite all of that.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I really feel we're doing this together. Years ago, when we first got married, about 12 months later, your sister was diagnosed with cancer and she died when she was 35. And I think we did grieve very differently then. I just remember you going into your cave. You became very withdrawn. The way I thought you were handling it, this is my grief, I'm a big boy, I can do this, leave me alone, and eventually I'll come out of it. And I felt you were shutting me completely out of your grief. I couldn't be there for you in any way, shape, or form.
I remember very well as a young man, I felt overwhelmed and sad by it all. And the easiest thing was for me just to run into my cave. And I felt there even more lonely, more frustrated, more in pain. And I cut the very thing that I needed most. I cut that emotional connection, the emotional supply that I needed. So the very thing I needed was the very thing I pushed away, which was sad. On the other hand, also, I felt we were newly married and you were pregnant. I didn't want to take your happiness away. I didn't want to take your excitement away, so I didn't want to burden you. But in doing so, I burdened you even more and I hurt you even more. So I didn't lessen that pain. Actual fact, I just added more to that pain.
Definitely, that pain of emotional disengagement was really very difficult for me. And certainly in your process to protect me, somehow you doubled my pain.
Yeah.
I was grieving your sister because you know how much I loved her. But in a way, I was grieving losing the connection with you. And that really became very painful. But you know something, Sam? I don't know if you could see it then. If you would have let me in on your pain, with my level of immaturity then, do you know what I would have tried to do with it? I would have wanted to heal you, to cure you. I wanted to take your pain away. I don't know whether you had the maturity to see that and that made you push me away further.
I could see what could have happened at that time.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I don't feel we're going back that way.
No, actually the way I feel we're doing it now, we're really together.
Yeah.
We're not fixing each other's pain. We're not taking it away. We're just really holding each other's hand down that valley of pain. And we're not curing each other. I really feel that we have matured in that area. To me now, you are the breath of fresh air that I get immersed under, and I come up and I see you and I get that breath of fresh air and I can go down again and we can deal with it much better that way.
I feel we're working together. No one is faster than the other. We're working through that together, step by step, next to each other. And despite the pain, I feel it's celebration of who we are together, celebration of our relationship, our life together, our journey together. And that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. We're leaning into each other.
Yep.
And we're actually not escaping the pain. We're leaning into the pain. And we're just learning through it. And we're becoming better people.
Yep.
And guess what?
Yep.
In 37 years of marriage, we might have grown up a little bit.
We grow a lot.